We've seen a lot of the positive knee-jerk reactions to the prospect of a trade deal, or at least some sort of détente in this fight. I'm wondering, do you see a longer-term net positive for the world economy, for world financial markets, should a trade deal get struck this week?
Sure. So I think it's important to break down whether or not we're talking about the national security of the United States, or we're talking about an interim, quote, trade deal where the Chinese buy some more ag products from the United States and the U.S. decides to delay tariffs, right? When you think about the U.S. is not going to fold and just sign on to a trade deal that's unenforceable or immeasurable. And I think when you look back all the way to China's ascension in the WTO, if the Chinese would just live up to what they signed in 2001, that would be infinitely better than the trade deal we're asking for. So the real issue is what we sign going to be measurable and enforceable, number one. Number two, is it going to deal with the 1 to 2% of GDP in the U.S. that the Chinese steal every year through intellectual property theft? And are we going to deal with industrial subsidizations and basically everything that China is doing in the United States to subterfuge our economy and steal from us has to be addressed today. And my guess is if Trump needs a short interim trade deal, maybe he could trade some soybeans for the delay in tariff, which any president in the world could do. That's an easy one. The hard one is getting a more substantial agreement put together, which I don't think will happen at this moment in time.
Well, one aspect of the deal that's sort of been floating around based on Bloomberg reporting is that there is a currency element to this. This was an idea that Steve Mnuchin floated back in February. We don't have the details, but presumably it would have something to do with China and the way it controls its currency. And I'm wondering if that is a part of the deal and there is a mechanism to enforce it, do you think that then is something that would actually be positive?
So when you understand the depth of the Chinese negotiating position, especially as it relates to their currency, Wang Qishan has been to the United States and has told his interlocutors here at the State Department years ago that he believes the worst position, the worst deal that Japan has ever done in their economic history was to sign on to the Plaza Accords in the 80s. It basically, he said Japan was willing to give up their economic superiority / greatness for the United States. My guess is that the Chinese are never going to sign on to any kind of Plaza Accord-like agreement, which is what I'm hearing. The funny thing about all of this is the U.S. is in the best position it's ever been in, right? China's trade deficit is running double digits on a combined basis. Their fiscal balance. And now their current account's headed to zero and lower from a secular perspective. So China's running out of dollars. And so China needs an interim trade deal just as bad as Trump's presidency needs one. And so I don't discount some kind of soybeans for a tariff deal in the near term again. But I think that the issues are so much deeper and they're so much larger, and it's antithetical to the Communist Party to sign on to a deal that's either measurable or enforceable. So we've come to a point where we've actually hit a cultural divide. And so to your question, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Li Hua has been essentially emasculated because they removed his official title. He can't do a deal, so he can come over here and talk about maybe doing a deal and taking it back to his bosses in Beijing. But the meeting tomorrow, I don't hold to it. I don't think it's going to hold too much water in the long term.